What is going on, guys? Smooth Racing here, back with a brand new video, and today we've got our Grid Autosport Weekly Updates Episode 2. Sorry it's a bit later, one day late, but I think from now on this series will be definitely up by the weekend, hopefully, and hopefully every weekend, but maybe sometimes it might have to be pushed back to a Monday, but I'll do the best I can to get it to you in the weekend. But let's get on then with rounding up all the news, all the latest news in the past week about Grid Autosport. So the main focus then of this week has been about the multiplayer, and they've been listening to a lot of the feedback by the community about Grid and Grid 2, and mainly focusing on the disciplines. This is a running theme throughout Grid Autosport. I'm sure you all know the 5 disciplines by now, and you can actually earn XP for each discipline individually online, and then you also get an overall XP level. This will attract new sponsors and unlock additional garage space, which is vital, since you actually be buying the cars this time in Grid Autosport rather than actually being rewarded with the cars after winning races, which you were in Grid 2, so that's a lot better than actually buying the cars. So those sponsors will then set your objectives, just like in Race Driver Grid, which I thought was really good. I especially enjoyed when they set a challenge of beating a different team. That felt like you were really driving for a team and really having a great rival to try and challenge and beat. So you'll win cash rewards for if you achieve those objectives. On multiplayer, it does take longer to focus on one XP discipline to actually achieve a greater overall XP, so you'll be rewarded for moving around some of the disciplines, but also for those who just want to focus on, say, touring cars, can just go on multiplayer and just play the hell out of touring cars, and they'll still get a really good XP level just for touring cars, and also their overall level of course will just be the same as the touring car level. And you can sell your old cars to make more money to buy your cars. You do use the cars that you bought offline as well as online on multiplayer, but you can also loan cars online, which is great, so you don't have to worry about if you have some really bad cars offline. It won't matter because you can just loan some out for the online racing with other people. There's a RaceNet challenge every week. There's 6 challenges every week. There's one for each of the 5 disciplines every week, and then there's also a wildcard challenge, which is a unusual car track combination, and you get a bigger payout depending on how well you do, and of course if you complete the challenge. There's also online custom GPs. You can basically these are all the factors then, but you can change, and each time you change one of these factors you will get more XP and then of course more cash rewards. So those are discipline. You can pick your favourite style of racing, whether it be touring cars, open wheels, tuner or street, etc, etc. And vehicle class, the type of vehicles you want to drive. The race type, the available race types will depend on what discipline and vehicles you picked. The number of events, so you can create a mini championship up to 5 events long. The AI, choose whether or not to add AI opponents to the session, which will fill any available slots on the grid, which is 12 for touring cars, by the way. Not sure, they haven't released any information about the grid sizes for any of the other disciplines. And the difficulty of the AI can be changed as well. Tracks, choose the tracks, route, lighting conditions and race time for each event. You can do upgrades, tunings, assists can be disabled individually to level the playing field. You can have manual only, turn this on if you want everyone to use manual transmission. Cockpit cam only, this can be enabled for ultra hardcore experience. Pre and post race timers can be made longer or shorter to suit your preferences. Collisions can be turned off if you don't want vehicles to collide with each other. Grid order, this provides a range of options on how you want the grid to be ordered at the start of each race. Damage can be set to fully or visual only. In visual only, your car will simply crumple in a crash, but it will not develop any mechanical defects. And finally, flashbacks. The number of online flashbacks that are allowed per race can be set here, which I'm not quite sure about the flashbacks, how that will work. Because they can't exactly stop the time for everybody, but maybe they are. I'm not quite sure on that. Moving on to party mode. This is where you can just make fun. There's 3 fun game modes. You don't get any cash rewards, which is a bit upsetting, but I suppose it means that people are just going to have fun on this and not focusing on getting the win or getting a really good level, because that takes away some of the fun. But the 3 disciplines then are Demolition Derby, be the first to cross the finishing line or the last car standing, and of course there'll be a lot of paint being traded there. There's also checkpoint, where you have a limited time to get to each checkpoint, and when the last car that remains wins. And the eliminator, which I'm sure you all know, there's a time limit, and then at the end of that time limit the car in last place will be eliminated until it goes down to the last car. And then there's also online playlists where there's 6 different disciplines. You can choose which one you want, or there's one where there's everything. And races are a bit longer than in Grid 2, and also the standard settings, so you can't change them, they're all preset. So it's kind of a bit like sprint mode on F1, where you just sort of choose a discipline, and then it will set up a playlist without you having to do much. You can just sort of jump into a match. Discipline, there's a discipline focusing on touring cars this week. Hopefully we'll be getting one on open wheel next week, I predict. But I'm going to run down then all the cars for the touring cars, because I'm sure you're all interested to hear them. And that's the Cat C touring car, so there's a Chevrolet Cruze touring car, there's a BMW 320 touring car, and there's a Ford Focus ST touring car, there's a Honda Civic touring car. Then in the Super UTAS class, there's Ford Racing U2E, Holden VE Comrade UTE, and there's a Cat B touring car. There's the Audi RS5, and there's Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG. Then we move on to the Super Tourers. They've got the Ford Falcon FG, the Holden VF Comrade, then the Cat A touring cars are the Peugeot 48 SCB and the ADC Pretzeler 14. Then there's the classic Mini Cup, the Mini Megalia, the Mini Cup, the Mini John Cooper Works Challenge, and then finally the final class is the classic touring car cup, the Ford Sierra RS500 Cosworth Group A, and finally the Nissan 1991 R32 Skyline GTR Group A. So we've got a wide range of cars to choose from. I'm really pleased, and there's also going to be V8 supercars, so I'm sure that will please a lot of people. And then this is what you can expect then from touring, the touring racing experience. Large grid sizes up to 16 cars offline, 12 players online, aggressive AI that won't be afraid to attack or protect the racing line, cars of similar or predefined specifications, so all the cars will be on equal. There'll be multiple round races, so you can have more than one race, just like in real British touring cars. And also there'll be practice and qualifying, races held at day, so I presume that will mean they won't be at night like around Abu Dhabi. And then there'll be loads of trade painting, so trading paint. So I'm really excited for the touring cars class. It sounds really, really good, and definitely looking forward to it. There's been a lot of good about it, and apparently, you know, the cars feel really nice to drive. They can be a bit unsteady at times, but there's also plenty of grip, and maybe, you know, not like Grid 2 where you're just sliding around every corner. There'll be a lot of control, but also really tough, and probably a lot of wheel banging with other cars. And then finally, the location spotlight for this week was at Yamaha Summertime Racing, where the driving at Yamaha is always in summer. This circuit then opened in 1967 and was used in Race Driver Grid, and now it's back. It looks really good. This track was used in F1 in the early 1980s, and I'm really looking forward to driving this. I think this definitely is suited to the open wheel class, with some of the corners being named after F1 drivers such as Gilles Villeneuve. And then finally, just a bit of speculation. After one of Alex Zaffron's videos, he said that the F3 cars were the worst in the open wheel class in terms of performance, and there were a lot better cars in store that he'd already know about, but obviously can't say. So the speculation does rise about what cars are going to be in the open wheel class, and could we even possibly see an F1 car? But probably more likely to be IndyCar. But you can let me know down in the comments which open wheel cars do you think will be appearing most likely next week, about to be announced. It will be one of the disciplines. A full list of cars will be announced hopefully this week. But I'm Smooth Racing. Really hope you've enjoyed this roundup of all the latest news about Grid Autosport. I'm Smooth Racing, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.